Oh, and the audience goes crazy. Thank you. I'm glad you're so excited to hear me talk. So, Morrison World Domination. That's the show. And I'm going to get on the YouTube channel today, and I'm going to get that organized because I know it's kind of confusing. Because I have two shows up there, Headbangers and Hooligans, and of course this one. And I'm going to get them separated today, so, you know, depending on which one you should be interested in both of them, though, right? Because it's Scum Malicious. And either way, that's entertainment. I won't disappoint, at least I hope. That's the goal. For you to get a little entertainment out of this. And so, yeah, hopefully, not hopefully, I will. I'll get that done today. And when you click on the YouTube channel, you can go to whichever show you want to visit. But go ahead and visit both of them. Alright. 10 fights that sucked, that shouldn't have. Heavyweights, of course. And after today, it's enough of the nostalgia stuff, right? Enough of digging into the past and talking about all the shit from the 80s and 90s and early 2000s, which I love, obviously. It's always great to revisit that stuff. But, you know what? I want to focus on now, the future of the heavyweight division. And starting tomorrow, I'm going to break down all the new guys, you know, the champions. And I know it's confusing. You know, we have, 4 or 5 belts, and that's always confusing to everybody. But, you know, Wilder, Deontay Wilder, and some of the contenders, and I'm going to start doing that tomorrow, breaking down the new guys, what's good, what's bad, and it should be fun, as always. So, but for today, one more little trip into the vault, into the nostalgia vault, and I will move on. I promise. It's just hard for me to let go of history. Anyway, all 10 of these fights sucked, okay? And I didn't rank them in any order. To me, they all equally suck the same. So, I just did it that way. I just picked 10 fights that all sucked, and I'll tell you why. And the first one is David Tua, Lennox Lewis, 2000, 12-round decision. Do you remember that fight? I do. Pay-per-view, I paid for it. So fucking disappointing. Now, I know that can always happen in a boxing match. You know, styles make fights. And for whatever reason, David Tua in this fight could not do anything. And I get it. Lewis had a huge reach advantage and obviously was taller. But Tua just looked so content to just jab and stay on the outside. Like he never, to me, never seemed to want to go in and attack like he usually did in his other fights. And I said it before the other day, Lennox Lewis just fucking annoyed me as a fighter, alright? But he was a good fighter, and he was smart. You know, big man, and he fought smart. Like, he wasn't going to expend his energy if he didn't have to. You know, if David Tua was going to fight like that, Lennox Lewis was like, that's fine. I'll do this for 12 rounds. I won't take any punishment, and I'll keep the belt. So, I'm not really blaming Lewis so much. That was the kind of fighter he was some of the time. Cautious. And, yeah, just very disappointed. And I like David Tua. I never was a huge David Tua guy. But I just thought he would have showed better than he did. It happens. Sometimes you think a boxing match is going to be exciting and it's boring as hell, and then unfortunately that happened to be one of them. Alright, next one, Vitaly Klitschko Sam Peter. Why do I have it on here? Because it was so one-sided. And you know I love Vitaly Klitschko. Favorite fighter ever. And after the 8th round, Peter was just like, I'm done. I don't even want to fight anymore. It was like a 4-year layoff. Alright? Vitaly Klitschko hadn't fought in 4 years. And Sam Peter had no fucking answer. And Vitaly just, it wasn't even, there was no drama whatsoever in this fight. Like, from the opening bell, Vitaly just jab, right hand, and then kind of just, it was like a slow beatdown, right? I mean, it's not like Vitaly went in for the kill. You know, he was content too. Like, okay, I can just jab and throw my right hand and just beat the shit out of this guy. Why, 4-year layoff, why not? And, yeah. And then Peter, I'm pretty sure it was after the 8th round, he was like, okay, I'm done. No more. I don't want to get the shit beat out of me anymore. Yeah. And it really, I'll tell you why it surprised me, because I thought at least Peter would maybe land a couple bombs. But, yeah. Didn't matter. Third fight. Harrison Hay. Remember Audley Harrison? David Hay? In 2010. Oh, the shit talk that these two had towards each other. Of course, David Hay's a big-time shit talker. I mean, that's kind of his forte, right? He loves to get everybody all excited. I mean, yeah, sorry. Had to take a drink of my beer. Yes, I'm having a beer. I mowed the lawn, so I'm having a beer. Anyway, great promoter of his fights. Couldn't wait to see David Hay in the ring so somebody punched him in the fucking face. Problem was, Audley Harrison is one of the biggest frauds ever in the history of the heavyweight division. Could he be one of the weakest chins ever in the history of boxing? Seriously. And then, come to find out, of course, he got stopped in the 3rd round. Hay won. Landed one punch in the entire fight. Think about that. 3rd round, he landed one punch the entire fight. The 3rd round is when he got knocked out. And there was an investigation, and they were going to take some of the purse. But they investigated and said it wasn't, a setup, because these two talked so much shit about each other. And then after the fight, he was like, kind of talking like they were buddies, and he had so much respect for David Hay. It just, unfortunately, that's the ugly side of boxing. Who knows? They probably are fucking buddies. I don't know. I don't follow the British heavyweights like I do. A lot of the, especially the American heavyweights, but, and there's a reason for that, and you know what, I'll probably get into that tomorrow. Alright, 4th fight I've listed here, and tell me if you were around or seen this fight and was put through the fucking torture chamber like I was. Lennox Lewis, and you know what, not his fault this time, versus Henry Akinwande, 1997. Do you remember that? Akinwande, 5th round, Mills Lane, disqualified him for holding too much in the 5th round. And in those 5 rounds, 44 times Akinwande clinched Lennox Lewis. And it was so ridiculous. Mills Lane kept warning him over and over, like, look, man, you gotta quit clinching or I'm gonna fucking disqualify you. He warned him. And I remember Larry Merchant saying that the fight reminded him of a mating dance between two boa constrictors. I know a lot of people fucking hated Larry Merchant. I liked him. I liked the crabby old bastard. He just brought an element to the to broadcasting. Like some of his analogies. I remember the song back in 1957, and it reminded me of a guy on a boat in a lake. And then he would compare that to a fighter. He would go on these, say that weird shit like that in the middle of a fight, and you're like, Larry, what in the fuck are you talking about? Anyway, Larry Merchant was more entertaining than this fight. Not kidding. 44 clinches, and finally Mills Lane said, you know what? We've had enough. Your ass is done. Alright, 5th fight. This is a crazy one. Andrew Golota, Mike Tyson. Remember this crazy fucking fight? Do you? I know you do. So, the weird thing about this is after the fight, when you find out that Tyson tested positive for marijuana. And in the first round, right towards the end of the round, Tyson landed this fucking kind of like right haymaker. And it fucked a lot up. He got up. But you know what? There was something weird with the way he landed, the way he got back up. And then they fought the next round, the second round. And then in the third round, he quit. And I remember Lou Duva, his corner guy, was just screaming at him, like, get your ass back in there and fight. And Golota was like, no more. Then you come to find out that Golota suffered a concussion, a fractured cheekbone, and a herniated disc. Fucking, this was when Tyson got out of prison. This was when he wasn't in his prime. So one punch from Tyson can fracture your cheekbone, give you a concussion, and a herniated disc. With just a crazy fight, I was expecting so much more because of Golota. He was a fucking lunatic. And the one thing about Golota, though, and I will say this, like looking back on all of his fights, he was actually a guy that had skills, but upstairs we had no idea what we were gonna get, right? Fucking disqualified twice with Bo, and he was kind of beating the shit out of Bo both times. He had that fight with Samson Pua, where he's just fucking Pua up. And then, I can't remember what round it is, then Pua's kind of messing him up, and he bites Pua. The ref doesn't see it. It was on USA Tuesday Night Fights. I remember Sean McGrady and Albert, going off like, and Golota bites Pua on the neck. And of course, he went on to win. But anyway, just a disappointing fight. And I was so pissed at the time. Remember, like, Golota, you fucking asshole. Because that's another fight that I bought. Yeah. Me again. A sucker for them stupid pay-per-views. I just thought it would have been an entertaining fight. I thought Tyson was going to win. But I thought that it would at least been a slugfest for 4 or 5 rounds. So, like I said, lesson not learned, because I would continue to buy pay-per-views. Alright, 6th fight. I've got Deontay Wilder and Chris Arreola, 2016. 8th round, it gets stopped. I'm going to talk about Deontay Wilder tomorrow. Listen, I read a couple articles online yesterday about him talking about Klitschko being boring. And you know what? Vladimir Klitschko was boring. But Deontay Wilder needs to fucking relax a minute. Who is he fucking fought? Seriously. Like, this guy's, the way he was talking, like he's this big action-packed fighter. And listen, I'm not saying he should be a guy that goes out there and goes toe-to-toe with people. No. Be smart. You know, that's what Lewis was. You know, don't go in there and, you know, get your brains knocked out. I don't have a problem with a fighter being smart, but don't sit there and act like you're some action-packed fighter. You know, and listen, I know Vladimir Klitschko had a suspect chin. He knew he had a suspect chin, and Emanuel Steward is the one that made Vladimir realize, listen, you're a good offensive fighter with a suspect chin. Let's fight the way to where you don't get your chin exposed and you win fights. And that's what happened. But there were fights where it was still exciting. I just, you know, Chris Arreola, come on, man. Like, and I hate saying this. Listen, Chris Arreola is 10 times the man I am. He would fuck me up every day of the week, 7 days a week. Okay? And I have respect for any guy that steps into the ring, right? You know, there's just something about that I really do respect. You know, you ain't on a team, basketball or baseball, football. It's up to you. You and the guy across the ring. You know, no one's going to bail you out anything but yourself. So I really do. I have respect for any boxer. But Chris Arreola, I mean, when he first came out, there was a little bit of excitement, you know, American heavyweight. And that's the thing with Deontay Wilder. I was excited about him at first. We need that. Okay, we really do. We need an American heavyweight to get people excited about the sport again. But Chris, you know, the fight with Vitaly Klitschko, like, you know, he just doesn't offer a lot to me as a challenger for any belt. You know, he honestly, every fight that I've seen him in, okay, I'm not saying I've seen all of his fights because I haven't. He looks like a punching bag. So, and he took, I mean, Wilder, he lasted 8 rounds with Wilder. So all I'm saying is, calm down, Wilder. Okay, I know you're the champ now, and you think you're the king of the world, but you haven't fought a lot of people. Really haven't. All right, 7th fight, David Haye, Vladimir Klitschko. Here's another one. David Haye talked so much shit, right? And, you know, the thing with chopping Vladimir's head off or whatever, they made such a big deal about it. And it was such a lopsided fight. It really was. You know, there's another one where I'm not saying Vladimir did a whole lot to get anybody excited. He really didn't, you know? The whole thing before the fight, you know, and they made such a big deal about it. Oh, you know, even Vladimir was like, that's, you know, that's bullshit he's talking about chopping off my head, you know? Yeah, so in the end, you know, it was all a big, giant promotional thing like Haye seems to do. You know, he's better before the fight than in the actual fight. So, and you know, like I said, I know Vladimir wasn't the most exciting fighter sometimes, so that had something to do with it too. Number 8. Lennox Lewis versus Mike Tyson, 2002. Okay? Listen. This is when Tyson was past his prime. I would have loved to have seen this fight in, like, you know, pick the year. I don't care. 90, 91, whatever. I mean, I know, and one thing, and we've seen it with Tua, you know, when he's 8 inches taller, or however much taller he was than Tyson, and he's got, you know, a 14-inch reach advantage. Like, even with Tyson's power, that it's hard to get past that because of the way Lewis fought. Like I said, he wasn't a dummy. He was going to fight smart. he wasn't going to leave himself open to get hit, except a couple times that he did get hit and he got floored. McCall and Rockman. Loved both of those knockouts. And you know what? I'm not a huge fan of Rockman, but I love the fact that he knocked him out. And of course Lewis knocked him back out. Anyway, has nothing to do with this. That fight, I still thought, see, and here's my stupid thinking again, buying another pay-per-view, hoping for fight, and I know the title of this is Fights That Suck That Shouldn't Have. I mean, if I would have been a little smarter thinking about it, like, why would I think that Tyson had a chance against Lewis at that point in his career? Honestly, I mean, like I said, the way Lewis fought, he was going to leave himself open for, one of those vaunted haymakers. And, we knew that Tyson, once you got him into the middle rounds, he was susceptible to getting beat, He didn't have great stamina. But I still would have loved to have seen this fight in Tyson's heyday. Something tells me, you know what? And maybe it's just wishful thinking, but Tyson lands one of those vaunted haymakers. Hey, Oliver McCall was Tyson's sparring partner, and he knocked Lewis out. So, it only makes sense, right, that Tyson would have a shot to do that. Okay. Damn. Thank God for the pause button. Apologize. Just keep getting interrupted. Anyway, so, once again, my fault for thinking that Tyson was going to put up a good fight against Lennox Lewis in 2002. Didn't happen. Alright. 9th fight. Mercer Briggs 2005. This should have been a good fight for one reason. Why? Because even though I'm not a big fan of Shannon Briggs, he's going to come in and, God, he's still trying to fight. Like, I seen him on Twitter trying to get other fighters, in the ring with him. And it's just like, dude, how, like, you got to be close to, 50 now? And he doesn't stop. But one thing about him, he keeps fighting, and when he enters the ring, he's going to get hit. I mean, that's just evident. He has a style that, for the most part, is going to be fun to watch. Because he, like I said, he leaves himself open to be hit. He's going to throw punches. He's going to try to knock people out. Remember when he first started, that's all he did. He knocked people out in the first round, and then the first guy that got him past the first round, Darrell Wilson, remember that? Night of the Young Heavyweights? God, I love that. I'm sorry. I thought it was awesome. But in 2005, him and Ray Mercer fought, and then he KO'd Ray Mercer in round 7. I'm just going to call it like I see it. Ray Mercer took a dive. And I really hate saying that. Go watch the fight. Ray Mercer is one of the toughest heavyweights of all time. Okay. I didn't say he was one of the best. He's a great fighter, though. But that chin, his toughness, one of the toughest fighters ever. And I honestly don't know what happened. Somebody posted a comment on YouTube saying, well, what happened was Briggs hit him in that one spot on the temple. That's what it was. No, it wasn't. That looked like a dive. And, did Ray need the money? Maybe he did, And I know both fighters were past their prime, but come on. Ray Mercer is a better fighter than Shannon Briggs every year. At any age. I just kind of feels, I hate saying that about Ray Mercer too, saying that he took a dive. I don't know. Yet, you can disagree with me. Check the fight out. Tell me what you think. It looks like a dive to me. And then the last fight for me that sucked, that shouldn't have, Lewis and McCall 2, 1997, and that was the one in round 5 where Oliver McCall, was just standing there and kind of letting Lewis hit him, and then he started crying and shit. And I remember at the time thinking, man, something's really fucking wrong here. And I know some people were kind of joking about it afterwards and stuff. It's like, man, knock that shit off. We don't know what's going on in this guy's life. That was just a crazy, scary scene. You watch that and you think, man, he's just like, he's having a mental meltdown in the middle of a heavyweight fight. And, he had gotten to Lewis before, and I really thought that he had a chance to do it again. I really did. But you could tell from the beginning of the fight something wasn't the same. And, then we come to find out it was just a giant mental breakdown. It was tough to watch that. And I honestly, I felt bad for Oliver McCall, because I was so excited for him when he knocked Lewis out. I really was. He deserved that, Think about all the shit he put up with as a sparring partner with Tyson. You're basically a punching bag. So to get rewarded with a belt, with that nice, beautiful fucking punch to Lewis's face, seeing Lewis go down, I'll never forget it. It's a great moment. It's one of the best moments I ever had with my stepdad, who's gone now, and who fucking hate with a passion. And we won't get into it on this, but it was one of the few moments that I enjoyed at all at any point in my life with him, was watching that fight. But yeah, McCall Lewis, big bummer for me. So there you go. Those were my 10 fights that sucked, that shouldn't have, in my opinion. And so, like I said, tomorrow, putting away the VHS tapes. That's what I'll do. Let's look at the state of the heavyweight division now. Let's look at the champions. Let's look at the contenders. And I'm going to start, and I'm going to do that all week. I don't know how I'm going to break it down in each day. Maybe I'll just do the champions tomorrow, and then my favorite contenders on Wednesday. I don't know yet, but yep, we are in the now starting tomorrow. All right, you know how I do this. Take it easy, and if it's easy, take it twice.